It was a chilly autumn evening when Jack Harris's life took a drastic turn. The 25-year-old had just finished a grueling shift at the local diner, looking forward to a relaxing night at home. But little did he know, his fate was about to be sealed. A knock on the door revealed to stern-faced detectives, their eyes fixed on Jack with an unnerving intensity. The trial was a blur of confusion and fear. Jack's court-appointed lawyer, Mr. Jenkins, seemed overworked and underprepared. The prosecution, on the other hand, was relentless. They presented a damning case, relying heavily on the testimony of a single eyewitness. But Jack knew the eyewitness, Rachel, was lying. She had a personal vendetta against him, stemming from a disputed parking spot incident months prior. Jack's lawyer tried to discredit Rachel, but the judge, Judge Thompson, seemed biased toward the prosecution. As the trial progressed, Jack's hopes dwindled. The prosecution's case was riddled with inconsistencies, but Judge Thompson repeatedly sided with them. It became clear that the judge had already made up his mind. The verdict was a foregone conclusion. The jury delivered a guilty verdict, and Judge Thompson sentenced Jack to 10 years in prison. The courtroom erupted into chaos as Jack's family and friends protested the decision. Jack's mother, tears streaming down her face, screamed, "This is a miscarriage of justice. My son is innocent." But Judge Thompson remained unmoved, his expression cold and unyielding. "The court has spoken," he declared. "The defendant is hereby sentenced to 10 years in the state penitentiary." As the guards led Jack away in handcuffs, he locked eyes with Judge Thompson, earning sense of injustice. As Jack settled into his new life, he began to realize that his conviction was not just a personal tragedy. Jack's days blurred together in a haze of hard labor, corruption, and struggles. The prison's bleak walls seemed to close in on him, suffocating his spirit. He was forced to confront the darkest aspects of human nature, where violence and despair reigned supreme. Jack's anger simmered, threatening to boil over at any moment. One fateful day, while working in the prison library, Jack met a wise inmate named Marcus. Marcus, a former lawyer, had been wrongly convicted of a crime he didn't commit. Despite the injustices he faced, Marcus radiated calm determination. He sensed Jack's anger and frustration and decided to take him under his wing. Marcus taught Jack the intricacies of law, revealing the flaws in his conviction. Jack's eyes widened as he realized the systemic injustices that had led to his imprisonment. Marcus fueled Jack's desire for justice but cautioned him against letting anger consume him. "Anger will destroy you, Jack," Marcus said. "You need to channel that energy into calculated determination." Jack's transformation was gradual but profound. He began to see the world through different eyes, understanding the complexities of the justice system. He devoured books on law, poring over cases and precedents. Jack's anger gave way to a steely determination, forged in the fire of his experiences. As Jack's knowledge grew, so did his purpose. He vowed to expose the corruption that had led to his conviction and to bring justice to those responsible. Jack's transformation was not just about personal redemption, but about creating change. He became a force to be reckoned with, a man driven by a quest for truth and justice. For the first time since his conviction, Jack felt a glimmer of hope. He realized that his story was not just one of tragedy but of resilience. Jack's transformation had given him a new lease on life, a chance to fight for justice and reclaim his freedom. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, but Jack was ready. The prison gates swung open, releasing Jack back into a world that had moved on without him. He stepped into the bright sunlight, feeling the warmth on his skin, but his heart remained shrouded in darkness. 10 long years had passed since his wrongful conviction. Jack's thoughts swirled with emotions: relief, anxiety, and a deep-seated anger. As Jack navigated the city, he felt like a ghost haunting his own life. Everything seemed unfamiliar, yet eerily familiar. He struggled to reconnect with his family and friends, but they had moved on, building new lives without him. The stigma of his conviction lingered, casting a shadow over his relationships. Job interviews ended in rejection, with employers hesitant to hire an ex-convict. Landlords refused to rent to him, citing his criminal record. Jack's frustration mounted as he faced rejection at every turn. He felt like an outcast, forced to live on the fringes of society. As the days turned into weeks, Jack's thoughts were consumed by a singular focus: clearing his name. He spent every waking moment researching, gathering evidence, and plotting his revenge against those who had wronged him. His obsession grew, fueled by a burning desire for justice. Jack's apartment became a shrine to his quest, with walls covered in notes, photographs, and newspaper clippings. His every waking moment was dedicated to unraveling the web of corruption that had led to his conviction. His relationships crumbled, and his health began to decline, but Jack couldn't stop. He was driven by a maddening desire for vindication. As Jack's obsession intensified, he found himself towing the line between justice and revenge. His actions became increasingly reckless, threatening to consume him. Would he find redemption, or would his quest for vengeance destroy him? The darkness closed in, waiting to claim him. The pieces were in place for a thrilling confrontation. Jack's release had set in motion a chain of events that would change everything. The question lingered: would he find justice, or would his desire for revenge be his downfall? As Jack's plan took shape, his fixation on the judge intensified. He became consumed by visions of revenge, blurring the lines between justice and obsession. Jack's apartment transformed into a shrine to his vendetta, with photographs and notes covering every inch of wall space. Meanwhile, Judge Thompson reveled in his retirement, surrounded by luxury and comfort. He had long forgotten Jack Harris, the young man he had sentenced to prison. But Jack's memory never wavered, fueled by a burning desire for retribution. With each passing day, Jack's plan grew more intricate. He created multiple identities, secured fake documents, and assembled a network of unwitting accomplices. The judge's security team, confident in their employer's safety, remained oblivious to the danger lurking in the shadows. As the day of reckoning approached, Jack's anticipation reached a fever pitch. He rehearsed every detail, anticipating potential obstacles. His heart pounded with excitement, knowing that soon he would confront the man responsible for his downfall. Would Jack's thirst for revenge be satiated, or would his actions unleash a catastrophic chain reaction? The stakes were high, and the consequences of his plan remained uncertain. One thing was clear: Judge Thompson's life was about to take a drastic turn. Jack stood outside Judge Thompson's opulent mansion, his heart racing with anticipation. Years of planning and preparation had led to this moment. He took a deep breath, steadying himself before ringing the doorbell. The judge answered, his expression transforming from curiosity to shock as he recognized Jack. "You single quotes Ray ... Jack Harris," he stammered. Jack's eyes blazed with intensity. "You remember me, Judge? You sentenced me to 10 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit." The judge's composure crumbled, but he regained control, his voice laced with defiance. "I did my job, Harris. You were found guilty." Jack's anger simmered, but he remained calculated. "I want a confession, Judge. I want you to admit you railroaded me." The judge scoffed. "Never. I'm not afraid of you, Harris." The tension escalated, the air thick with hostility. Jack's eyes locked onto the judge, his gaze burning with intensity. Suddenly, Jack's anger erupted. He lunged at the judge, grabbing him by the throat. "You destroyed my life," Jack spat, his voice venomous. The judge's eyes widened, his face reddening. Jack's grip tightened, his fingers digging deep. In a fit of rage, Jack snapped the judge's neck. The sound echoed through the mansion, a haunting reminder of the devastating consequences of Jack's quest for vengeance. As the judge's lifeless body slumped to the floor, Jack's anger dissipated, replaced by a crushing sense of reality. He stumbled backward, his eyes fixed on the man he had killed. The room fell silent. The only sound was Jack's ragged breathing. He knew his life would never be the same. The consequences of his actions would haunt him forever. The police arrived, responding to a frantic 911 call from a neighbor. Jack was arrested, and his fate was sealed. As he was led away in handcuffs, he caught a glimpse of the judge's lifeless body. The tragedy had unfolded, a devastating reminder of the destructive power of obsession and revenge. Jack's quest for justice had consumed him, leading him down a path from which there was no return. The curtain closed on a shattered life, a testament to the enduring consequences of a flawed justice system and the human capacity for destruction. Jack's hands were cuffed behind his back as he was led away from the judge's mansion. The sound of sirens echoed through the night air, a haunting reminder of the consequences of his actions. He was charged with the judge's murder, and his trial would be a sensationalized media event. As the trial progressed, flashbacks revealed Jack's motivations. The court saw glimpses of his wrongful conviction, the harsh prison life, and his obsession with clearing his name. The jury learned of Jack's transformation from a victim to a vengeful individual, driven by a burning desire for justice. The jury delivered a guilty verdict, and Jack was sentenced to life in prison without parole. As he stood before the court, his eyes locked on the judge's family, who sat in tears. Jack's thoughts drifted to his own family, who had suffered alongside him. The trial's outcome sparked debates on justice, revenge, and redemption. Some saw Jack's actions as a justified response to a flawed system, while others condemned his violence. The case raised questions about the consequences of playing judge, jury, and executioner. In his cell, Jack reflected on his journey. He thought of Emily, his lost love, and the life they could have built together. He realized that his quest for vengeance had consumed him, leading him further away from redemption. As Jack's story unfolded, it became clear that the cycle of violence had claimed another victim. The judge's family mourned their loss, while Jack's family struggled to come to terms with his actions. The tragedy served as a poignant reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked emotions and the importance of seeking help. Despite the darkness, Jack's story offered a glimmer of hope. It highlighted the need for a fair and just system, where the innocent are protected and the guilty are held accountable. It also underscored the importance of forgiveness, redemption, and the human capacity for growth. Jack's legacy would be complex and multifaceted. Some would remember him as a victim of circumstance, while others would see him as a cold-blooded killer. But one thing was certain: his story would serve as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the dangers of unchecked ambition, the importance of empathy, and the enduring power of forgiveness. Jack's story highlights the devastating consequences of allowing emotions like anger, resentment, and desire for revenge to consume us. His quest for vengeance ultimately led to his downfall, demonstrating the importance of managing emotions and seeking constructive outlets. The narrative exposes the vulnerabilities of the justice system, where wrongful convictions can occur due to biases, corruption, or incompetence. This serves as a reminder of the need for ongoing reform and vigilance to ensure justice is served. Despite Jack's tragic mistakes, his story underscores the human capacity for growth, redemption, and forgiveness. It encourages us to reflect on our actions, seek forgiveness, and strive for personal growth. Jack's actions demonstrate the catastrophic consequences of taking the law into one's own hands. This lesson cautions against vigilantism and emphasizes the importance of trusting the justice system, flawed as it may be.